Many of my videos, I talk about how important tracking your data is. That if you don't have your KPIs and you're not tracking your data, it makes it very, very hard to scale your business, almost impossible. What you can track, you can measure, you can control, and we want to be in control of our business. If you don't know who I am, my name is Javi, and I help create and funding companies scale by implementing the exact marketing system that took my funding company to 300K per month. And if you're the first time watching, welcome. I'm going to show you how tracking your data can completely change your business. Now let's jump right into it. Let's say we're getting about 1,000 leads per month, right? It's right here. 1,000 leads per month. We're getting an average of 5% booking rate. So out of that, we're gonna get 50 calls. Let's say we have a 70% no-show, which is pretty bad. That gives us 15 calls. Then that leaves us about 35 calls lost. So we took 15 calls, and let's say we have a 15% closing rate, which is pretty bad, and that made us $6,000 pretty much. I'm sorry, we're selling a $6,000 offer, and let's say on average we cash collect half of that because they go on a payment plan. So that month we pretty much have 13K in contract value, and we got paid almost 7 grand. Not bad. Making 7 grand a month is not bad with just 2 sales calls. That's pretty good. But we want to make more than that, right? We want to make 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 per month, right? And let me show you, once you have your KPIs and you understand it, let me show you how just changing small things and actually focusing on the bottleneck, how it dramatically changed the business, okay? So here we're still gonna have 1,000 leads coming in, but instead of having a percentage of lead to book percentage to be 5%, we're gonna go for a 10. So we're gonna double it. Now that we just double that, we can see we literally double our business. We went from $13,000 per month to 27. Okay. Now let's go to the next thing. Let's say your show rate is not 70%. 70% is very bad. Let's say it's at 30%, right? And this is very possible. On average, your show rate should be anywhere between 60 to 70, sometimes even 80. I even have in my funnel 90% show up on a DM funnel. So you can get it very, very high. But I'm being, conservative here. Let's leave it at 30%, right? That it already dramatically increased the business. We're doing now $60,000 per month, cash collecting 30. We just 5x our business pretty much by just focusing on the show rate and booking more calls with the same amount of leads that we're getting, right? So those two things. Now, what is the next thing? The next thing is, of course, closing rate. 50% is very bad. Actually, when we started, a lot of our clients that are bad at sales, they usually start on the 20%. I myself started on the 20% when I first started selling the funding offer. So it's okay if you're at this level. It's okay. It's possible to go higher. Let's say you're just at 25. That just raising your closing percentage by 10% pretty much. Now you're doing 100K per month contract value, cash collecting 52,000. This is why it's so important to track your data, because now we can literally see, okay, if I have a booking rate of 5%, I need to focus on the next month, next week, whatever time frame it needs this to be fixed. This will be my primary focus. Let's say if you're doing VSL funnel, that means the ad has to be better, the VSL have to be better, and the application has to be smooth process for you're not getting a lot of drop off. For DMs, the only way to fix this is literally you need a better setter. There's no way around it. Lead to book percentages, and if it's lower than 5% or at 5%, your setter sucks. You need a better setter. They need to be trained better. Or if you're doing your own setting, I'm sorry, you're not doing so good. I've seen as low as 8%. I'm saying like good. 8% is pretty solid. You can still do, you could do some damage or 8%. But if you can get up to like a 10%, 8 to 12% is usually where you want to be. So definitely aim for at least 8%, okay? The no-show, this 30% is very solid, okay? Let's maybe leave it at 40%, which I'm still being very conservative, right? Here we're now making 72,000. But one thing that I do want you to do is the sales, right? Because the no-show, in reality, there's so many things we can implement, but you don't always guarantee for that person to show up. And I'm telling you, okay, so if you're doing straight to VSL, the chances of them showing up are dramatic. Like almost like a 50% are not going to show up. Yes, we could implement systems to increase the show up rate, but we could maybe get it to like 60 to 70. On a DM funnel, hell, you can get that thing to like an 80 to 90% show up rate. Like if I show you my calendar for 2023, and this was 2 years ago, where's my show? is 7%. So 93% of my clients are showing up, okay? So you could definitely get it really high, but let's just say it's at 40%. So 60% of the clients are showing up, which I think is pretty fair, right? But your closing rate, if we could make this into a 30%, this is the ideal number that I want everybody to aim. 30% closing rate, because if you do this, there's no way for you to lose. It's almost impossible not to make money if your closing rate is 30%. Okay, if we do this, we're making $86,000 that month, cash collecting pretty much 43. Okay, now we can also do something else, which is the average cash on hand. If we could, let's say we put 4K, that also will dramatically increase our average cash collected. So on average, most people want to do a payment plan. That's about, let's say 70% of the people want to be a payment plan, but there are ways that you could get paid in full, or just get 4K down and then 1K next month, or 2K next month, whatever. If you can make that happen, now you're doing $57,000 cash collected per month, okay? So these are small things that you can tweak in the business that you're like, okay, if I just fix this, I dramatically, look at the difference, everyone. Let me put this back at 3K. This is the business that's making, let's say on average 10K per month. Here's the business that's making $1 million per year because you're above 83K per month. You're pretty much same bit. This one is making 100K per year. This is making $1 million per year. What did we change? It's pretty much get a higher booking link to percentages, have a lower no-show rate, have a higher closing rate, right? Those are the three determining factors. If you can just focus on those three, you can dramatically increase profitability in your business, but with not too much effort. This can all take, well, actually, let me rephrase that. The one that might take the longest is going to be closing rate. This is something that the only way you can get better at this is by doing more reps, unfortunately. Like, there's no way you're going to, watch one video and then next sales call, you're going to just absolutely close it and get a fucking 40% closing rate. It's very difficult. This is the only part about this that might take you a month or two, even 3 months, depending on the volume of sales calls you're taking. If you're taking one call a week, good God, you might take forever. If you're taking at least, how I got really good at this, it was taking 4 calls a day for almost 2 years, and that's what made me good at sales. It's just volume, taking a lot of volume, okay? And actually, in reality, if you want to go to my closing rate, I could go as high as 40%. We had some months that I'm 60, but let's just average it to 40%. Whoa. 40%. And again, I could actually prove that to you if we go to over here. Oh, actually, it's 60%. So for 2023, I had a 60% closing rate, which it's insane. It's very, very high. But I knew what I was doing. And if you can get it to there, look how we're making almost 200,000. Well, not 200, 170 is pretty close, but we're making almost 172,000 per month contract value, cash collecting almost 90 grand by just changing the closing rate and being a better closer. This is how dramatically impacts your business, just understanding sales and able to talk to people. I literally imagine, just look at the two scenarios, everyone. Let me zoom in one more time. One business is doing $13,000 per month. The other is doing $170,000 per month. Dramatic difference. But again, 60% is very high. This is for somebody who's already taken a bunch of sales calls. So I understand it might be difficult to get there. But actually, I talked to one of our clients, and if you've seen this, shout out to you, brother. They went from a lower 20%, and I just did a testimonial with them that they had a 60% closing rate. So it's definitely possible. And not only for me, I have some other clients that have gotten as far as a 55, a 60%. I even had a client that for 3 months straight, he had almost like a 70% closing rate. So it's definitely possible if you get everything dialed in. It just is all depending on you and how hard you're willing to work on the sales skills. But you can see how dramatic that changes your business, okay? And again, this is just by the same KPIs. All we're changing is the booking, the no-shows, and the close rate. Those are the two things that we're primarily focusing on. And if you can just focus on those things, it will dramatically change your business, okay? So, I mean, I didn't want to make this video too long, but as you can see, how important is tracking your KPIs. And once you track your KPIs, you can actually move, you can actually be predictable in your business because okay, This is the problem of business. This is my bottleneck. If I get it to this, I'm gonna get X result. Like for example, let me say it again. If your booking rate percentage is 5, if you can just get it to 8, hell, we could even go even more extreme. 15%, 70%. One second, everyone. Okay, 70%. Okay, everything is the same. Okay, so we can move this to 6%. Move to 6%. We're making just 3 grand more, but hey, we're making some money. You know, I'm just gonna move this to small increments. Let's say from 15, you can't get it to like 30 or hell 40. Let's just get it to at least a 20, right? Look, at least we're making 20 grand this month. Let's get the no-show, instead of being a 70%, let's just get it to a 60%. Look, now we're making 30 grand per month. So even if the increments are not dramatically, you can see just moving things by 2%, 5%, 10% here and there, you 3x your business. Okay? So if you're in the position of right now of your business that you're maybe making 10K per month, right? This is you making at least 10K per month or even lower, and you don't know none of your KPIs. This is one of the main reasons why you can't scale, because you don't know what is the bottleneck of the business, what is a target KPI for you can actually scale, and you're not tracking your data. So if you're not tracking your data, none of the things that I'm saying previously will happen. That's why you got to be on top of your KPIs. You got to start tracking your data, because if you can't track, you can't measure, and you can't control. And we want to be in control of a business, okay? So if you're watching this video and this is all new to you, this is the first time you see this, oh man, you're in trouble. So please hit the subscribe, hit the like button, watch all my videos, because I'm talking about tracking all the time. And if you're ready to start implementing this, you can always book a call with my team for we can start implementing these marketing systems and start scaling your business. But just to show you how important tracking your data is, it will completely change your business and how you scale. So start tracking your data so you can start scaling.